It's good to be back. It was good to be back in the Mansfield room. It was good to be having lunches served again. And it's good to be with all of you. And when I say all of you, I mean it. Okay. I want to thank Senators Durbin and Murray and Stabenow. We had a great caucus meeting today. We have to get a lot done. So I made it clear to my caucus we're moving ahead on two very important issues: voting rights and Build Back Better. Before the end of the month, the Senate will vote on crucial voting rights legislation. Republican state legislatures across the country are passing the most draconian voting restrictions since the beginning of Jim Crow, potentially disenfranchising tens of millions of Americans. Congress must take action to defend our democracy. And we heard really moving testimony from 5 Texas state lawmakers about the vicious, nasty, and bigoted attacks aimed at voting rights in their state. These Texas Democrats bravely fought against voter suppression. They briefed our senators on what's happening in their state and why passing legislation is so important. They must have gotten 5 or 6 standing ovations. We were really taken by their courage, their bravery, and most importantly, their mission, which is we need to help Texas. We need to undo these awful laws and help Texas obtain a decent way of voting for all people. The discussion on our caucus is going to continue on this issue. We'll be holding a special caucus meeting later this week to continue discussing the best path for voting rights legislation. Now, on infrastructure, we continue to work well on the process that goes in 2 directions. One, bipartisan, and we're working on a bipartisan infrastructure proposal to meet the demands of the 21st century. As I've said from the start, discussions on this whole big infrastructure proposal, and when I say infrastructure, I mean physical and human. We're not just talking about physical. But the discussions on them are progressing on 2 tracks. One track is bipartisan, and the second track pulls in other elements of Biden's American Jobs Plan and American Families Plan, which will be considered even if it doesn't have bipartisan support, as will pay-fors be considered even if they don't have bipartisan support. Our Senate committees are working on both tracks at the same time. And as I've said from the start, in order to move forward on infrastructure, we must include bold action on climate. At the moment, both tracks, as I said, are moving forward and progressing very well. Tomorrow, I'm convening a meeting with all 11 Democratic members of the Senate Budget Committee regarding a fiscal year 22 budget resolution. And now that President Biden's fiscal 22 budget request has been received by Congress, the Budget Committee can begin the important work of producing a budget resolution, especially with respect to the Jobs and Family Plan. As you know, a budget resolution will outline how we go forward and includes issues that are affected, that are part of reconciliation. So both are moving forward, the bipartisan track and the track on reconciliation. And both we hope to get done in the month of July, both the budget resolution and the bipartisan bill. After 6 years of Republican obstruction and 4 years of disastrous Trump presidency, we know we got a lot of work to do to get our country back on track, but we also know the American people elected Democrats to accomplish big, bold things, and we're on track to get it done. In the caucus today, there were many different viewpoints that were discussed. We have a broad caucus with a wide range of opinion, but there was total agreement that we must have unity and get it done. And we are very, very pleased with how we're moving forward on this issue. Senator Durbin.
So far, we have approved 4 Article 3 judges, 3 more in the wings, and more to follow. members of the caucus are looking at the vacancies in their state and producing quality candidates for our members to approve and send forward to serve. We need to rebalance the court to make sure that we have diversity, not only in gender and race, but also clearly in background and experience. We're doing it. It's no longer just enough to have the blessing of the Federalist Society. These have to be quality nominees, and I'm proud of what we've achieved so far. The second point I would like to make is this is the 9th anniversary of DACA. It was 9 years ago that President Obama signed the executive order creating DACA. Some 780,000 people in America were given a chance to earn their way to legal status and citizenship. They've been waiting. DACA was announced as a temporary measure. They've been waiting for Congress to do its job when it comes to a permanent law. I'm working with members of both sides, Republicans and Democrats, to try to craft that alternative. In the meantime, we had a hearing today and several of the DACA recipients came to testify. It was an inspiring moment. What they've been up against in their life and what they've achieved is nothing short of amazing. But to hear from the other side of the aisle, many of the critics say, this is just an invitation for more illegal immigration if you pass DACA. That's how far apart we are within the United States Senate. I still have hope because I believe in these young people and what they've been able to achieve. The last point I want to make is Senator McConnell has announced that if he has his way, there will be no Supreme Court vacancy filled in the last 2 years of the Biden administration. That is an outright, blatant statement on his part that he is going to continue to use everything, every device, to defy the traditions, the precedents, and the rules of the Senate to get his way with the Supreme Court. Who can possibly imagine that's what our founding fathers had in mind? If we are going to have any integrity left in our judiciary, we cannot let this partisan political play out.
Senator Murray.
Thank you. We are hearing from all across the country about the ways that the American Rescue Plan is helping to safely reopen our schools, get vaccines into arms, get relief directly to families, and support small business and local economies, and a lot more. But we also know this: if we do want to come back stronger and fairer than ever before as a country, our work is not over, far from it. We've still got parents who cannot afford or find childcare. We've got workers who are having to choose between staying home when they or a loved one is sick and earning a paycheck. There are students trying to figure out how to afford the next step in their education without being saddled by decades of debt. We are long overdue for investments in transportation and broadband and clean energy, which will not only create good-paying jobs, but will allow us to finally begin tackling the ever-growing urgent need of climate change. I could go on, but this is the point. Senate Democrats are determined to keep making sure the Senate is one that acts to get things done and puts the concerns and stresses families and communities are facing first. These are not Democratic or Republican challenges, and I know Democrats are not the only ones who are hearing from constituents about child care and paid leave and climate or the need for better paying jobs. So we certainly welcome Senate Republicans taking these issues as seriously as we do and working with us on them. But if they don't, we are not going to let them stand in the way of progress American people are making clear they want to see. So I'm looking forward to the work with all of our colleagues to make sure our policies match the scope of what workers and families are dealing with in today's economy, so we can come back from the last extremely tough year stronger and fairer for everyone.
Senator Stabenow.
Well, thank you. First of all, I just want to say it's great to see your faces. It's really wonderful. We are doing everything we can as the Democratic majority to make sure we're not only tackling what's happening with COVID and what families, businesses, farmers need to get through and survive all this, but truly to build back better. It's not just a slogan. We want to come out of this stronger than ever. And the bipartisan effort on infrastructure is one piece of that, but we need to do the rest of what needs to be done in the jobs plan and the family plan to really meet the needs of our economy and of our families. And I want to stress just two of those, because frankly, we can't wait for bold action on the climate crisis. This is one piece of this. Michigan, as other states, is seeing serious effects. Deeply concerning to me is that we're now hearing that the Great Lakes are warming faster than the oceans. It's having incredible impact on our families and our economy. Farmers are losing their crops to volatile weather. Erratic water levels in the Great Lakes are threatening homes and communities that live along the coastline. We're seeing more disease-carrying insects, longer allergy seasons. These are real, and we have to address this now. So thankfully, we have great partners in the White House that understand this, and they are counting on us to work with them to really move forward boldly to address the moment as it relates to the climate crisis. The American Jobs Plan makes crucial investments in transportation infrastructure, as we know, roads, bridges, transit, rail, ports, electric vehicles, as well as clean energy jobs and climate-smart agriculture. So this is one piece that we have got to make sure happens in addition to the bipartisan effort. The other is what happens when we are looking beyond traditional, what our Republican colleagues call infrastructure, to what is infrastructure for families. Just ask a working mom if childcare is part of her family's infrastructure. Ask a brother who takes care of his adult sister whether disabilities, with disabilities, if the childcare work he depends on is part of his infrastructure. And ask a family with an aging parent who needs help to live at home safely if home care is infrastructure. We understand that it is, and we are committed, along with President Biden, to make sure those needs are addressed. It's time to invest in America, both in our places and in our people.
Great.
Senator Schumer.
No?
Senator Schumer.
Yeah, I don't like to call the people who shout out quickie. So let's get somebody else. Go ahead, DeBonis.
Senator, you've seen the bipartisan proposal. Does it do enough on climate for your caucus?
I think there are many people, maybe everybody in our caucus, who believes it's a good start, but it doesn't do enough. And that's why we need, I'll call on you next. And that's why we need a reconciliation package, a budget resolution that goes beyond what's in the bill. And I think just about everybody understands that. Yes.
Most of your rank and file members think that this bipartisan negotiation isn't big enough, doesn't have enough things. So is this just a facade? Why are we waiting for this?
Okay, look, there are a good number of members in our caucus who say to us, whenever you can do something bipartisan, you ought to try. And we are. And we've had good success, not only in the bills that have already passed, the water bill, the anti-Asian bill, the USICA bill, but we're moving forward on surface transportation. The Commerce Committee marks up its addition to that. The Banking Committee has done it. There are members with very justified views. Whatever you can do bipartisan, we should try. But alongside that is the view that that won't be enough. It won't be enough on climate. It won't be enough on revenues. It won't be enough on some of the human infrastructure, like paid leave and child care and things like that. So we're proceeding on both tracks. Yes, yes. We hope to get the budget resolution, which is, you know how it works. The budget resolution has the big top-line numbers, needs 50 votes, has to go through and then you work out all the details. But we hope to get that first budget resolution on the floor and passed in July, as well as the bipartisan proposal. Okay.
Schumer.
Yes.
Elizabeth Warren and others say that the bipartisan infrastructure package and the larger reconciliation package have to be part of the same global deal. Can you get all negotiated at the same time? You talked about just bringing a budget resolution on the floor, but can you actually get the details of that reconciliation?
I think there are large numbers of people in our caucus, and I sympathize with this, who will not vote for a bipartisan bill unless they're quite certain what's going to be in reconciliation. Okay?
So
Last one.
Schumer.
Voting rights, can you give any guarantees to these Texas lawmakers today, and why move forward with S1 if you don't have the votes to pass?
Look, it's so important, and we're working as we speak with others, including Senator Manchin, to see if we can get a big, strong bill passed. We have to get it done. It's very important. It will be voted on.
Have you got
Thank you.
commitments from Manchin, Sinema, on reconciliation?